Hello everyone. In today's video, we are going to discuss about what is the main difference between the two storage services provided by AWS. One storage service is called as EBS, Elastic Block Store, versus the another service called as S3, Simple Storage Service. Okay, so we have, I have made a video on S3 also, and done the implementation part also. You can check that video out, or we can briefly discuss what is S3 and how it is different from EBS. So uh, now what is EBS and how does it works is Amazon Elastic Block Store. Well, I will tell you very briefly. See, EBS is directly attached with the EC2 instance. What is EC2? EC2 is basically a elastic compute cloud. We can make it either a server or a computer. Okay, so EBS is automatically by default directly attached with the EC2. So uh, the the performance of EBS, which is direct because it is directly attached to EC2, is much better as compared to S3. Okay, but there are some other advantages of S3 as over EBS. So let us first see what is EBS and how does it work. So Amazon Elastic Block Store, Amazon EBS is an easy to use, scalable, high performance block storage service designed for Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud EC2. It is specifically designed for EC2. Now, if we can see the figure, there are basically two types of EBS. Amazon Elastic Block Store is of two types. One is SSD based, another is HDD based. Now in SSD based, we have general purpose or provisional IOPS. What is IOPS? See, SSD is mainly calculate SSD performance is basically calculated on IOPS. What is IOPS? IOPS is input output per second. So how many input output per second? If we need higher amount of input output per second, we will use SSD based storage. If now second is HDD based. If we require a higher amount of throughput, then we will use HDD based. So we will select according the volume, the type of EBS volume according to our need, and then we will attach it to our EC2 instance, and then we can run our application. Okay, moving forward. Now here we are uh, uh, doing the same point again. What is the main purpose of solid state drives SSD, and what is the main purpose of hard disk drive HDD? So as you can see, the underlying part in the solid state drive SSD optimized for transactional workloads involving frequent read-write operations with small input-output size, where the dominant performance attribute is input-output per second IOPS. Now, SSD is also of two types: general purpose SSD and provision SSD. Okay, so we will see what these are in the next slide. Second is hard disk drive. It is optimized for large streaming workloads where the dominant performance attribute is throughput. Okay. HDD bag volume types include throughput optimized HDD and cold HDD volumes. And then we have some previous generations which we do not use much, so we will not discuss much about it. So the main storage part is SSD and HDD. Then moving forward, then now we can do some comparison based on the of general purpose SSD and provision IOPS SSD. Now the general purpose SSD, we can see these are the volume type GP3, GP2, and here IoT, IO2 or IO1. These are the name of the different volume types in general purpose SSD and provision SSD. General purpose SSD durability is 99.8 to 99.9%. So durability is quite similar in both. Now the use cases, we can see general purpose is, as the name suggests, it is used for general types of work we want on our system, like low latency interactive apps, development and test environment, virtual desktops, medium sized single instance databases, boot volumes, whereas in provisioned SSD, workloads that require sub-millisecond latency. Okay, for example, if you are doing a voice call over a network or a live streaming of a cricket match, then we need a provisioned IOPS because the latency has to be very minimal. If there is a 1 second or 2 second latency, then the voice and the video will not collaborate with each other and the output will not be satisfactory. So sustained sub-millisecond latency, then sustained IOPS performance, more than 64,000 IOPS or 1000 MB per second of throughput is needed, or it can provide this output. Also, workload that requires sustained IOPS performance of more than 16,000 IOPS, input-output intensive database workloads. Okay, now they are also different in volume type and maximum input output performance. Volume type here, it is in general purpose, it is 1 GB to 16 TB, whereas volume type of provision is 4 GB to 64 TB. Okay, and maximum input output per second per volume is 16,000 in general purpose. Here it is 2,56,000. Maximum throughput is also different. Here it is 1000 MB per second, and here it is 4000 MB per second. Of course, different volume type have different throughput. Then there are some other features like Amazon EBS multi-attach is not supported in general purpose. The boot volume is supported. Here EBS you can attach multiple EBS with it. In provision, it is supported and boot volume is also supported. Okay, moving forward. Now there are some more points, more differences we can have between EBS and EC2, EBS and S3. The first point is Amazon EBS can only be used when attached with EC2 volume. So this is one of the difference between EBS and S3. EBS is only used while attaching with S3, while attaching with EC2, while S3 is a unique identity by itself. We can use it without attaching with EC2. Just by a URL, we can use it as a storage. Next, Amazon EBS cannot hold as much data as Amazon S3. See, S3 can hold unlimited amount of data. The maximum size of the data in S3 can be 5 TB. Now, EBS is a limited amount of volume. Okay, so EBS can hold a limited amount of volume only. Third point, Amazon EBS can only be attached to an EC2 instance, whereas S3 can be accessed by multiple EC2 instances. Fourth, Amazon S3 experiences more delays than EBS. Why? Because EBS is directly attached to EC2, whereas S3 we have to attach it, and the latency, the delay can be more as compared to EBS. Because of course of the where it is situated physically, in which location, which part of the world it is situated. So we have seen that EBS was of 3 types. One is SSD based, then HDD based, and then previous generation. And whereas S3 is of 6 types: S3 standard infrequent access, S3 one zone infrequent access, S3 intelligent tiering, S3 glacier, deep archive. So these 6 types I have already discussed in S3 video. You can check that video out so that to get more understanding of what S3 is, and implementation video is also there. Okay, so in this video we'll do this much only. Thank you for watching this video.